Good afternoon. I'm here to talk to you today about sexual assaults in our prison systems. Few aspects of incarceration are more horrifying than sexual exploitation and forcible rape within our prison walls. It is a subject which society reacts with a combination of fear, disgust, and outrage. We don't want to believe that within our criminal justice system, such cruel and unnatural incidents has occurred. However, it is a brutal reality faced by our offenders in prison throughout our country. Now, you ask me, what does this have to do with me? I'm not in prison and I don't plan to be anytime soon. The fact is, these victims are released out into our communities at an alarming rate each year. And as you can imagine, they bring a lot of anger and frustration with them. Many rapes happen at the beginning of an offender's incarceration. A rape in prison is the same as a rape out on the streets. The motivation is power, dominance, and gratification. And one offender wants to have power over another and use sex as a tool for control. The rape is often the beginning of a relationship where the victim classified as belonging to a more powerful offender who in return protects the victim from harm. Now, what is sexual assault and rape? According to the Texas Penal Code, section 22.011, a person is guilty of sexual assault when the following occurs. The person compels another person to submit to sexual conduct and/or the person forces another individual to engage in sexual intercourse. Rape is making another person submit to sexual behavior by way of intimidation, extortion, manipulation, or physical force. And forcible rape is knowingly and intentionally, without their consent, causing a person to submit to or participate in a sexual act by the use of threat or physical force. Now, who are our particular potential victims? Predators will watch and target victims with certain behavioral and characteristic traits. They target offenders who are generally young, small in stature, they are nonviolent, maybe even first-time offenders. They're passive and soft-spoken. A lot of times they're smooth-faced where they do not have a beard or mustache, and they're often middle-class heterosexual males. What effects does rape have on these victims? According to the Rape Trauma Syndrome, RTS, it is a devastating form of post-traumatic stress disorder, very familiar from our military combat veterans. In some form or degree, it affects virtually all victims of sexual assault. And for male survivors, an actual rape, the syndrome is likely to be severe and even life-threatening. And some of the common characteristics of RTS or rape trauma syndrome are physical traits such as sleeping difficulties, changing in eating habits, symptoms from their specific attack, such as contracting HIV, AIDS, and other sexually transmitted diseases. They have startled reactions and they're extremely alert to their surroundings. And the emotional traits they may suffer from are shock and denial, fear, emotional impression. They become withdrawn. They often feel guilt and blame and humiliation, and they have uncontrolled thoughts. Some of the behavioral traits that they may experience is excessive crying, repetitiveness in repeating doing things such as taking showers all the time, standing alone or being isolated, pacing. They'll often engage in self-mutilation and they'll stand with their backs against the wall. And yes, some of them become predators even after they're released. Remember, these behavioral and physical and emotional responses don't go away because a victim is released from the system. They are released into our communities with social, behavioral, and health issues stemmed from their trauma. In conclusion, today, we have discussed sexual assaults within our prison system, the actual meaning of sexual assault as it appears in our Texas Penal Code, who our potential victims of sexual assault are, and the trauma they suffer even after they're released. After listening to my speech today, you can now see how sexual assaults in our institutions can affect the victims who will soon be released to our communities. Thank you.